and welcome back to Stormborn Stories. We've got another vlog here for you. Now, I know I left the previous vlog on a little bit of a cliffhanger. I don't know really what happened at the end of the week there. I didn't get much more filmed, but really the only little bit of reading that I did was a bit more of Wild Magic by Tamora Pierce. So, as you can see, I'm maybe almost nearly a quarter of the way in now, which feels bizarre looking at it because it doesn't feel like that much of the story has gone past. But I'm really enjoying it once again. I'll probably, once I get a bit further into this, have a little chat about this book with spoilers, because I think that's probably the best way for me to talk about these books that I've read before. Talking about them in spoiler format gives me a chance to get all my thoughts out properly. The other thing that I have consumed, a story format that I have consumed in the past few days, is an anime, which is Bleach. I was up to about episode 80 a few weeks ago and put it down because where I was up to, the story had stopped interesting me quite as much, and I decided to push on and watch another episode the other day just to see if I could get back into it. And it seemed to have got to a point where the story's catching me again, and I've watched quite a few more episodes. So I'm now somewhere in the 90s, low 90s I think, and again, I will probably watch a few more episodes in the next few days, so I'm going to take some notes and hopefully I'll have a nice spoilery discussion of the particular arc of Bleach that I'm up to. Actually, I think I've just gone from one arc to the next. In terms of my reading plans for this week, I am hoping to get through the rest of Wild Magic. I don't think it'll take me that long. I've read some of the other Tamora Pierce books in about 3 hours. It's less than a day's read for me, really. And hopefully get onto Wolf Speaker, and maybe even get through Wolf Speaker, we'll see. Depends how much time I want to spend on that. I've got a couple of other YouTube channels that I'm working on, and I want to do quite a bit for those this week. I would hopefully like to get through volumes 2 and 3 of Tokyo Ghoul. I started this one the other day. I couldn't find any of my nice bookmarks that I'd made, so I'm just using a random clothes tag that I found around. But I wasn't in the mood for these last week. I did start volume 2, didn't get very far. I would also like to get a little bit further, at least, with The Mask of Mirrors. Originally I'd planned to get this done by the end of June, and I have realised that Friday this week, coming week, is the 1st of July, and as you can see, I'm not even halfway through this book, and it is quite a dense read, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to get through the whole thing by the end of Thursday. But I'd like to at least get a chunk more of it done. It's a really interesting book. The Patreon that I'm part of, the buddy read for July, is Legends and Lattes, and I don't have a copy of that yet, and I probably won't be getting it until maybe even halfway through July, so I think I'm just going to have to wait on reading that one for now. And yeah, try and get through the rest of Mask of Mirrors first. In terms of watching, I'd like to catch up on the rest of the Bluey episodes that have been aired since I last spoke about them in the previous video, because I haven't actually watched any more since then. Good morning! It's Friday! And this week has slipped past awfully fast. I haven't done a lot of reading this week. I'm still actually working through Wild Magic by Tamora Pierce. As you can see though, I'm nearly at the end of it. So I'm planning on getting a bit more reading done today. The other thing that I will be talking about in this vlog is the rest of the season of Bluey that has come out. Well, it's not a full season. It looks like they're splitting season 3 into 3 parts. So we had part 1 probably last year or early this year. I have a feeling it was last year though. And we've just had part 2, which was only actually 11 episodes that released. But I've got a few notes on the last few episodes to talk about. So I'll do a little bit of a summary of that. Maybe we'll have a separate Bluey video sometime in the near future. And I'll finish Wild Magic. Maybe get started on Wolf Speaker. Maybe read a volume of Tokyo Ghoul. We'll see where we get. It's probably going to be quite a short vlog this week. So it's now Saturday and I was in the middle of editing the vlog when I realised that I had lost a clip. The one where I talked about Bluey and what I thought of Wild Magic now that I finished rereading it. So I get the fun of re-recording that. But I think it was too long anyway, so it's not too bad. So we're going to start by talking about the 4 episodes of Bluey that I watched this week. They were Space, Smoochy Kiss, Dirty, and The Decider. So Space was an episode that was set at the school that Bluey goes to, but doesn't actually follow Bluey in this episode. It follows 3 of the other boys that attend the school, Mackenzie, Rusty, and Russell. And basically they're playing a make-believe space adventure. And this is one of the episodes that the Bluey team used to kind of get parents thinking about how children use play as part of their mental processing. So during this episode, and this will be a little bit spoilery, they're 7-minute episodes, it's kind of hard to avoid talking about the content of the episode while trying to explain pretty much anything about it at all, really. I still recommend you go watch them. You won't really get the effect of what Bluey does with just listening to me talking. So, in this episode, the 3 kids are playing space, and Mackenzie, the border collie, is basically not feeling like he's into the game in the same way that the other 2 are. Keeps wanting to wander off on his own and basically be left behind. And it turns out that he is recreating an experience he had as a kid of being left behind, and is using this imaginary play format to process the emotions and the experience now that he's a little bit older. It's not the first episode of Bluey to do something like this. There was an episode probably in season 1 in which Bluey finds a budgie that is injured on the side of the road. They take it to the vet and it has to be put down, and she tries to get Bingo to help her basically play through the experience of the budgie dying. But I think that Space is a really fun episode. Smoochy Kiss is another fun one. This plays more to the really playful side of Bluey. Basically, Mum's whinging about Dad because he leaves the fridge and the cupboards and the kitchen open all the time, and the kids decide that their dad belongs to them now. So they're following him around the house, trying to keep him away from Mum, who just wants to give him a smoochy kiss. And they gradually realise that their dad is actually disgusting. And the whole point of the episode is that you've got to take the bad with the good. And it turns out that Mum's disgusting too, but that's why they love each other. Dirty, I think, of the 4 episodes that I've watched this week, is probably the most impactful, the most important, I think, for parents to watch. It takes a pretty strong look at the idea of beauty standards and how, when we as parents hold to beauty standards, it affects our children. So the focus of the episode is on Bingo and Bluey's next door neighbours. Judo is the child around Bluey's age, and Judy is the mum. And they are Chow Chows, which is a long-haired breed known for their beautiful fur, which takes a long time to brush and wash and maintain. So, generally speaking, Judo doesn't get to go and play and get dirty with the others. The healers, that's Bingo and Bluey, get a giant mound of dirt in their front yard to play in, and Judo's left out. And even when her mum says that she can go play in it, she chooses not to because she knows that maintaining her fur is going to take a lot of effort. So in the end, her mum decides to shave off all of her own fur as a sign to her daughter that the beauty standards aren't as important as we hold to, and that, you know, maybe letting our children play and have fun is the more important thing to do. It's really worth a watch, I think, because the way it does it, I can't explain it well. I don't think I could ever explain a Bluey episode in a way that catches the impact that it has when you watch it. Go watch it. The final episode that I'm going to talk about is The Decider, which is a sports-themed episode. So the sport that the characters are watching in this episode is Australian rules football, but the sport is kind of unimportant to the episode. The point of it is that in the family of one of their other next-door neighbours, Lucky, the parents for this particular match are supporting different teams, and Lucky's younger brother, who I think was called Chucky, basically hasn't decided which team he wants to support and feels like he has to choose between which parent he wants to spend time with and be with for this particular thing, which is quite sad when you realise that the parents, because they're supporting different teams, when one team scores, one parent will be happy but the other won't be, and vice versa. And he feels sort of really strongly about it, and it's quite sad at the moment where he feels like he's actually choosing between his parents by picking a side. But by the end of the episode, another match has come on, it's a week or two later, and this time the whole family's supporting the same team. And I think the point they're trying to make is that even if your child feels like he's choosing between parents for one game, the whole family might support the same team on the next game, and that choosing which team to support and which parent to side with for that doesn't actually mean you're choosing which parent to be with. I will hopefully be making a more in-depth video about Bluey at some point because I absolutely adore it, and there's so much more I want to be able to say about the things, but hopefully that quick little summary of those 4 episodes encourages you to go check them out. They are available on ABC iView in Australia and on Disney Plus elsewhere in the world. So now a little bit of summary of Wild Magic, now that I've finished it. It's a really good book. I say that about all the Tamora Pierce books. I have a very strong love for the Tamora Pierce books because I've been reading them for, gosh, nearly 20 years probably. I'll be 31 this year, and I'm pretty sure I started reading them when I was 11. That's a terrifying thought. But they are, yeah, some of my favourite books out there. The writing isn't the most amazing, the plots aren't the most amazing, but Tamora Pierce always manages to drag me into the story, and I always have a great time. And I do love rereading books, and these ones in particular I go back to probably every single year. So in this book we're following Dane, who is a 13-year-old girl who has been recently orphaned after her family was killed by bandits, and she's come to a fair where there is a lady, Anua, who is looking for an assistant to help her take a group of mountain ponies that she's just acquired south to the people that employ her, who are going to be using the ponies, the Queen's Riders. Dane has wild magic, hence the title of the book, which basically means that she has a stronger bond with animals than a normal human, and it allows her to understand and interact with the animals more easily than other people. Only Dane has a lot more wild magic than is usual for people with wild magic, let's say. Overall, it's a good book. I don't want to spoil too much of it, but yeah, I think the only issue that I found with it, and it's one that came up to me this time that I hadn't realised was an issue beforehand, is that as you follow Dane through, a lot of the time her dialogue is written the same as the dialogue for pretty much all the other characters we talk to. Most of those are nobility, very educated, and she's meant to be this sort of country girl from the mountains. And honestly, I don't notice that she's speaking the same as them. The dialogue just flows pretty nicely for me. But there are a few points throughout the book where they have tried to emphasize the fact that she is not from around here, that she is actually a country girl. Things like when she's given a book of anatomy, now that she's studying this wild magic, she finds a teacher and is studying the wild magic, and she's given a book of anatomy and doesn't understand that she should be able to keep it because she's just a poor peasant girl. And they change, Tamora Pierce changes the dialogue there to make her try and sound more country, and I found it so jarring. And I don't know why it's never stood out to me before, but there's just a few phrases, and because it's not all the time, and because the fact that her less sophisticated speech is so sparse throughout the book, it really threw me off. But, you know, clearly not enough to stop me from reading it. So, I do recommend this. It is a good time, as are all the other Tamora Pierce books. And now, back to past Vicky for the rest of the vlog. So, we have come to the end of the reading vlog / watching vlog. I have started Wolf Speaker. Have not got very far through it yet. I'll probably read more of it tonight, to be honest, but if I don't stop filming, or if I don't film this final clip now, I'll go pick up my kids and I will forget to film. So, we're ending the reading vlog here. I'm just over a chapter in. I think I'm in chapter 2. Yes, I'm in chapter 2 of Wolf Speaker, and I haven't read this book in a very long time because I lent my copy to someone and they never gave it back. At least I'm pretty sure that's what happened to it. So this story is a lot less familiar to me than probably 90% of the Tamora Pierce books I own. There are a couple that I've only read once. I don't know if I've got copies of all of them, but we will work on that. So basically, this one takes place about 1.5 years after the first book, and in this one, Dane has been summoned by the wolf pack that she used to run with to solve an issue in the valley where they now live, where basically the place is being deforested and holes being dug in the ground and all the game has been chased off. And because these wolves have been around Dane, they are smarter than the average wolf, and they have decided that instead of running away like they usually would if they were just relying on their animal instincts, that they would prefer to confront the humans as though they were another wolf pack and have the issue dealt with that way. Can't really say much when I'm only a little fraction into the book, and I don't want to spoil these books for you anyway, but so far so good. I didn't end up reading any Tokyo Ghoul. We'll see if I get to that next fortnight. I think that's the problem with being a mood reader. I have to kind of be in the mood for it, and for some reason I just wasn't this week. So that's all we've got for now. Let me know in a comment if you want a summary of the other Bluey episodes that I haven't talked in detail about, and hopefully, now that we are at the beginning of July, I will be doing a June wrap-up for you very shortly. Look for that within the next week. So, thank you for watching. Join me again next time.